Dave, why don't you tell us a little bit about your high school career and what made you decide that you were Division One, Division One
FCS.
FCS credited player that you could be as an offensive lineman?
I started my junior and senior year in high school. I ended up lettering 3 years in high school, and I ended up lettering 4 years in track. And then I also got a few more awards with that. I believe that I was ready for it because that was like one of my first offers. They came in and they were just like, they offered me that day. So it was just an amazing experience to see. And I was like, oh, well, I can use my body to start getting more offers and scholarships to college. So it was just an amazing experience.
The Missouri Valley Conference that you're going to be playing in is one of the best in the
Mhm.
FCS. You got North Dakota State, who's
Yeah.
always good. Northern Iowa is
Mhm.
very good. I mean, a lot of these schools have been very competitive, and Youngstown State was in the finals, I think, in 2016. So they're definitely a rising
Mhm.
program for sure. Is there any particular
Yeah.
opponent you're looking forward to playing most, and what is your expectation for playing in one of the better conferences?
I think North Dakota State would probably be the number one opponent. I think just getting to know or getting to play one of the best teams and having some of the best competition in the United States is just an amazing experience, and it just I think makes you a better player. Like playing against better competition is always going to make you a better player.
Dave, when you look at the offensive line position and you try to compare and contrast a player that you can compare yourself to, who would that be? And why did you, when you started in high school, what were you just an offensive lineman? Did you play any other positions? Were you a running back? Were you a linebacker? Did you play a defensive position? Why was it the offensive line? What struck you to be an offensive lineman going into playing college ball?
So I did start out in ninth grade. I played nose tackle, and I think once that transition to varsity came, I more fell in love with the technique of the offensive lineman. So I wasn't like, I don't know. I just really love the technique of the offensive lineman, how you have to play smarter. You have to play smarter a lot. So it's a lot of knowing, and it's on your go. So I think just I love the technique involved with it, and I loved getting to know more that as playing through high school. I don't know. I don't know who I would consider myself as I don't know if I can answer that for you, but
Well, I'll answer for you when I get the chance to watch you. How's that sound?
yeah, thank you.
Did you play any other positions when you were in high school besides the offensive line position? And if so, do you think you
He
could?
did. He told you. Nose tackle.
Yeah. Do you think you can adapt to maybe play that at Youngstown State? We see a lot of dual threat college guys that play both sides of the ball in college. Do you think you could do that at the collegiate level, especially in one of those top conferences?
Um, I think I could, and at the end of the day, it comes down to the coaches. A big reason why I picked it was because of the Youngstown was because of the coaches. I really loved Coach Peterson, and I believe that I know I'm just a person that likes to listen to their coach. I'm not gonna, if they did move me to another position, I wouldn't get upset. I'd say, okay, I'm just gonna take this position and do the best I can with it.
Dave, when you look at the coaches that you worked with all these years, and what did they push you to do? How did they push you as a player to become the player that you are today? And who was the person? Was it your mother? Was it your father? Was it your sister? Was it your brother that pushed you to play football and go play collegiate football?
So probably one of the coaches or one of the big things that the coaches wanted me to do was to just get more aggressive. When I was playing in like middle school, I wasn't a very aggressive football player. Um, I didn't take my size for granted, and I think that's what the coaches really did over the 4 years was using my size to an advantage and being more aggressive on the field. I think my number one person would be my mom. She really for me, she's a single parent, and I wanted to have not have the stress of like college tuition and stuff on her shoulders. So I think that was a big reason why I wanted to play college football, and just for my love of football.
You were mentioning the aggressiveness. Another aspect of the offensive line is the intensity of it. Obviously, if you're a
Mhm.
center, you're giving the calls to the quarterback, you're calling the audible, stuff like that. If and it's also one of the biggest trash talking positions as well. What is your level of intensity on the offensive line in terms of the aggressiveness that you play with?
I think as I got older, I have started to play more aggressive. Whenever we do a run play or something, my goal is to always either pancake the guy or push him 10 yards back. That's my goal, and make sure that he doesn't touch anyone. So, yeah, just trying to not. I kind of think of it like when the blind side. I kind of think of it as like the quarterback's my mom, and I don't want anyone touching her.
Dave, when you watch some of the NFL players play the position, there are a lot of great offensive linemen in the league. When you look at yourself as a player, do you see yourself in the future as an NFL player, or you're just kind of trying to hold back and experience the great experience of college football and see where that takes you?
Well, of course, it would always be a dream to go to the NFL. Like, I'm not going to deny that. For right now, my goal, I really would like to become a physician. So my goal right now is medical school, but if I had the opportunity to go to the NFL, that would be my dream.
So you're a smart guy, huh? Is that what you're saying? You're a doctor? Is that what you want? Is that what you want to be?
I'm not gonna toot my own horn.
Well, look on the bright side. If you don't play in the NFL, you could always work on you could work on the outside and actually take care of the players. So there you go.
Part of the training staff.
You could be a part of the training staff. So there you go. You'll get hired no matter what.
Yeah.
So, David, you're going to see this a lot in college football and in the NFL if you're getting to the next level. We've seen a lot of offensive schemes that involve a very exotic blocking type. Do you have a favorite type of exotic blocking schemes if you've done any? And also, what are some things about blocking that a lot of the average fans would not know about? Obviously, not knowing the offensive line positions because it doesn't really get talked about as much.
Yeah. So in high school, we did a lot of the spread offense, which I like doing the spread offense, and I liked I love pass rushing and stuff. I love the technique that goes into it. I think for one thing that fans wouldn't know about the O-line is just how much technique is involved with it. It's not just about hitting the person in front of you, and it's not just about pancaking people. It's about your foot placement, your hand placement, and just to use that just to beat a guy. So I think that would be the number one thing that not a lot of people know about the offensive line is just how much technique is involved in it.
Dave, if you were to pick a strength that you have as an offensive lineman, is it your footwork or is it your hands? I mean, I've watched a lot of NFL drafts, and some of the offensive linemen that were drafted this year, they tell you their strengths and their weaknesses. And I believe the offensive line, especially a left tackle, you need to have very fast, very strong hands. Would you particularly say that your hands and your long arms are your strength, or is it your footwork?
I would say the hands and my hands and stuff. My footwork, I know that I need to work on that, and especially my hand placement too. I think there's always room for improvement. So I think just anything, but I do think that my hands are my strongest asset.
Speaking of the NFL draft, we see a lot of the time when draft season comes around, a lot of the FCS school prospects are undervalued because they played against weaker competition per se. But again, a lot of those players has played with a chip on their shoulder. We've seen Jerry Rice be arguably the greatest football player ever, Shannon Sharp, Brett Favre, guys like that. Do you think that is something that definitely fuels them and why we've seen so many better ones than people expect?
I think so. I think the FCS can sometimes be underrated. But I think that really does fuel people to be better.
As you know, we are talking to Youngstown State offensive line recruit David Metzler. Go ahead, David. I'm sorry. I know you wanted to finish what you were going to say.
Okay. But yeah, I think, and I think especially with the conference that I'm going to be in, I am going to be playing up against really good competition. So I think that'll also fuel me. But I think for the guys that can be sometimes overlooked, I think that does also fuel them as well.
Now, Dave, when you look at college football, was there college football that a football team that you rooted for when you were younger? And if there was, did you ever reach out to them and see if you wanted to play for them and be recruited by them?
Well, growing up in Columbus, I'm a big Ohio State fan. That's my whole family. Everyone around here just loves Ohio State. I did go to a couple of their camps, but I wasn't actively trying to as much as I should have, but yeah.
Ohio State, one of the heavy favorites this year. Is this the year they finally go all the way? They've been very close before, and obviously they won about 6 years ago. But they've been very close in the college football playoff in the first two.
There's not going to be a season, Speedy. Come on.
All right, if there is a season, is this finally the year they get over the SEC teams?
Yeah, I hope so. I can't stand all these SEC teams getting all the credit.
Well, you want to know something? There's a lot of SEC teams, and I'll tell you this right now. We've interviewed a lot of different recruits from the SEC, and they have their own thoughts about their teams and how good they're going to be this year. When you look at yourself as a young person and a young man and moving into a big boy sport, and you're talking about guys that are twice the size. You're talking about defensive linemen that are going to be about 365 pounds, 6'6", 6'5". When you look at those type of players that you're going to be playing week after week after week, does that scare you, or that gives you a little bit more understanding about the competition that you're going to be playing against?
Well, of course, I'm always going to be nervous going into a new environment, a new conference and stuff. But I think it really does fuel me just to be better. I need to get myself stronger in the off season. I need to get my technique down during the season, off season. So I think just it kind of does fuel me to just be a better player.
One of the things that NFL teams value nowadays is versatility, especially with the offensive line. Could you see yourself playing in multiple spots on the field? And if so, how do you think the concept's different, both with blocking and also with the technical stuff, the communication stuff before the play?
Mm-hmm. I do think that I could be versatile. I feel like for my size, I don't want to be the slow guy on the team. I've never wanted to. I always want to be able to move quickly. So I think just with that aspect, I could be versatile at other positions, like especially guard, or if they needed me to go on defense or something like inside.
We are talking to Youngstown State offensive line recruit David Metzler. Dave, first of all, you tell me your footwork is the thing that you need to work on. Have you ever thought about going dancing? I'm being serious. I'm really being serious. I mean, dancing helps footwork.
Yeah, no, I haven't really thought of it. I've heard some guys doing ballet, to be honest.
Well, I don't know about you doing ballet, a 6'3", 300-pound guy doing ballet. I don't know if that would be fun to watch. And actually, I think it would be funny to watch. I'd take a lot of pictures and some video, you trying to do a pirouette or something. That would really be funny.
I think there was an offensive lineman for the Ravens, I want to say, that was an Irish tap dancer or something like that.
That's not ballet. Could you imagine a 300-pound, 6'3" guy trying to do a pirouette? I mean, seriously.
That would be funny, though.
That would be funny.
It'd be fun to watch, huh?
Well, I'd like to see you do it. I mean, if you want, I'll pay for you for your first couple of classes to see what you could do on the dance floor. I think it'd be really funny.
Maybe he'll use that as a touchdown celebration.
Could you imagine him when they score a touchdown doing a pirouette? Could you imagine that? 300-pound guy? That would be really funny.
Start practicing now. Errol's going to be watching.
Oh, I'm definitely going to be watching now. If you have anything to do with a touchdown, man, I want you to get into the end zone and try a pirouette, okay? That would be really, really funny.
I'll do it for you.
Absolutely. But let me ask you this question. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have a younger brother and a younger sister.
Does your brother play football?
No, we're actually kind of the complete opposite. He's more into he's not really into sports. He's more into theater.
Ah, and he's into video games, right?
Yeah.
Ah, that's what So you know what I like to do when I interview people? I ask them what their brothers and sisters do because it gives me the thought on how the family is. And your mom is a single mom, right? Is that what you said, right?
Yeah.
So what does your mom say when you decided that you wanted to play football in high school and you were running track and field and you were doing all the other things that you were doing? What did she say? Because to me, when you look at everything that's going on in the world, especially in football, 4 years ago with the CTE situation and a lot of these NFL players like Patrick Willis retiring at a young age, DeBrickashaw Ferguson on the New York Jets, he retired at the age of 30. Did that scare your mom that you wanted to play high school football and possibly go play college football?
Not really, to be honest. She's always been an athletic person. I think she played basketball and track in high school and college. So she's always loved athletics and stuff. So when I wanted to do athletics, she was on board with it.